And public universities are set to witness another round of strikes after a 2-week notice issued by the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SSANU, over the federal government's failure to honor agreements reached last October. Arise News correspondent Amaka Okoye reports.
The hope of Nigerian students in public universities resuming lectures after staying home for about 10 months due to strike by lecturers and as a result of COVID-19 containment measures may be hanging in the balance due to another proposed strike by 2 other unions. The Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SSANU, on Friday issued a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government over its refusal to honor agreements reached with them last year. Both unions operate within the administrative arm of public universities.
The ongoing industrial tensions in the university system stem from the failure of government to respect collective bargaining agreements entered into with the Joint Action Committee of NASU and SSANU. Specifically, Memorandum of Understanding MOU signed between officials of the federal government and both unions on Tuesday, 20th October 2020. The issues in contention are inconsistencies in IP's payment, non-payment of earned allowances, non-payment of arrears of national minimum wage, delay in renegotiations of FGN, NASU and SSANU 2009 agreement, non-payment of retirement benefits of outgone members, teaching staff usurping headship of non-teaching units in clear violation of conditions of service and establishment procedures, neglect and poor funding.
The 2 unions explained that they are against the sharing formula of the 40 billion naira earned allowances offered by government, which largely favors university lecturers. NASU and SSANU say the inconsistencies in the IPPIS payment, non-payment of earned allowances and minimum wage arrears, delay in renegotiation of 2009 agreements, and non-payment of retirement benefits to outgone members are some of the key areas of dispute with the federal government.
We take our time before we go on strike. From history, we have never exceeded 2 months, 3 months in the strike, straight ones. We have always have sympathy for the Nigerian students and parents of the students before we go on strike. And we have always given enough warning to the government, giving enough room for intervention. Warning strike we're talking about is a warning strike of October 2020, which we wrote government and informed government of our intention to go on that warning strike. Government never called us until we started that strike. That one-week strike was concluded before government called us for a meeting on the 20th of October 2020. And it was on that 20th October that a resolution was signed.
The 2 unions in the public university system are calling on the federal government to attend to their demands or risk an indefinite strike, which will commence on February the 5th. The education and labor ministers are yet to react to the strike notice. Amaka Okoye, Arise News.
Okay, joining us to speak more on this, we have the National President of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SSANU, Comrade Haruna Ibrahim. Comrade, it's so great to have you here. Now, the question that is on the lips of a lot of people is not again. Are you guys not concerned that Nigerians are getting tired and sick of hearing that their children will not be going back to school every few months, and this has been on for 9 months. Now SSANU and NASU say they're looking at disagreement with government that might mean that children or kids or young people will not be able to go back to school. What do you say?
Well, thanks for having me, and it's a great opportunity being here. Whatever you would have said, it's an opinion, and I want to tell you that we are also Nigerians, and we are also parents. We have our kids in such schools, and it's not in our character to derail or create confusion for Nigerians, and especially our students' populace. But when you are pushed to the wall, you must react. I put these blames squarely on the doorstep of government, because here you are as a union having sat with government in 2009, November precisely, after long deliberations, and an agreement was signed. This is a copy of the agreement, signed by representative of government and the labor unions. There are 4 university-based unions, ASU, SSANU, NASU, and NAT. All these 4 unions entered into agreement and signed duly with government representatives. And in this agreement of ours, there are issues that are highlighted and that are time-bound. And even the agreement itself has a lifespan of 5 years, that after every 5 years, the agreement should be renegotiated. Now, most of these agreements that were reached never saw the light of the day, and some of which are those that we have mentioned in our agitations.
Maybe for the benefit of our viewers, you want to reel out some of those agreements, especially the key ones. And in what way, really, is this particular agreement, whatever the number of the agreements are, in what way are they different from what ASU agreed with the federal government? I mean, you say that you have 4 different associations within the tertiary institution. Is NASU, or was SSANU or NASU part of the ASU agreement with the federal government that now you're calling for? I mean, well, you've given the federal government a 2-week ultimatum.
Yeah.
Were you part of that agreement that ASU had with the federal government?
Now, our agreement is independent of ASU agreements. But because of the peculiarity of the environment and we work in the same system, some of the issues are interwoven and are similar. For example, the issues of earned allowances. Mm-hmm. We have in this document a specific area where government and our representatives agreed that some deserving staff should be paid some allowances that are earned, one of which is the responsibility allowance, excess workload, shift duty, call duty. You know, in SSANU it's a melting pot. You have all sorts of professionals in SSANU. You have administrators, you have engineers, you have medical doctors, you have nurses, you have lawyers, you have every facet of life that you find in the university that are populated by SSANU. And it's from the registrar down to the level of, Contis 5. Now, these are people that work in the environment. And because the working condition in the university is not similar to that, or is not the same with the MDAs. So that was why government was, in the first place, was convinced that such environments or such workers require some special treatment, and that because this is obtainable also elsewhere. And when such agreements were signed, we took government into confidence. And after so many years of non-performance, in October 2020, there was an MOU after the warning strike of 5 days. The government invited us, we sat down, reviewed at the most pressing ones, one of which is the issues of the mutilation of our salaries since we joined the IPPIS. IPPIS came to us as something that we welcomed, because among the 4 university-based unions is the non-teaching unions that welcomed IPPIS after government demonstrated to us that they have captured the peculiarities of the university members of staff. And that after that, we keyed in, but only to realize from February to date, there are members of union that have not even got a kobo as a salary. Some drivers were paid salaries of vice chancellors. Some cleaners were paid salaries of registrars.
Okay.
You know, overpayments, underpayments, and our medical staff. All their allowances were withdrawn.
Sorry, Comrade, help us understand. Let's unbundle it bit by bit.
Yes.
For 9 months, ASU was on strike.
Yes.
What happened to SSANU during that period? Were you on strike as well?
No.
So all of you were going back, you were going to work?
As of today, SSANU is not on strike. And SSANU never went on strike for the last 9 months that ASU was on strike. We were in our offices, we were working, and that was why there were no issues with us.
Okay. Does it mean then that you were working against whatever ASU was asking from the federal government? Was ASU fighting also for SSANU?
No, well, I would not be able to speak on behalf of ASU because I'm not a member of ASU. But I can tell you that issues such as the payment for the allowances and the sharing, formula that came out that we felt was evil, because here you are having an agreement signed by government that they will pay you certain amount, and that such payments came, and some people somewhere decided on their own that the release will be skewed to favor one union, and here you are having 3 unions, sharing a 25% and giving one union 75%, and we are more in population, and that such monies are not largesse. Government employed us. We have our appointment letters. If such monies are paid to the university, through the councils, through management, every member of staff has his condition of service, and that everybody has or knows what he should earn. But
is it realistic at this time to expect government to meet these demands? 40 billion earned allowances, arrears of minimum wage, and 2009 agreement and all of that. Do you think it's realistic that government can meet you at this point? And what level of engagement have you been having with government? What has government been saying to you?
Well, for now, we've not heard anything from government outside the MOU that we signed in October, which the government gave a 2 weeks timeline. And in that signing, in that MOU, the director of IPPIS was there, the Minister of Labor was there, the Executive Secretary of NUC was there, the representative of the SGF was there. And that a 2 weeks timeline was given that they should go and sort out these problems. And that nobody came back to us, and that nothing happened. And more to it is that we have a large population of our members who have retired and have contributed, their monies for pension, and they cannot access such funds. It's so frustrating.
Okay, yeah, I can understand how frustrating it can be. Now, what are, if you were to unbundle it and to put it in like few words, which areas are the deal breakers in terms of what you have said to government, and government has signed in that document that you have with you there?
Yeah.
Which ones are the ones that are deal breakers that you said you must have, and government has failed, that has led to this 2 weeks ultimatum you've given them?
We have 7 items listed here.
All 7?
And all 7, government only attempted resolving one. That is the composition of the visitation panels. And those were only made in the news. Until today, even the panels were not even inaugurated.
And this was from October of last year?
Exactly.
And then the remaining 6 items that government appended signature to,
yes,
they have failed to deliver on that.
We have not seen anything to convince us.
No, there's a difference between not seeing it,
yes,
and failing to do it. There might be a process, and I'm playing the devil's advocate. I'm not a devil here, but I'm playing the devil's advocate and asking the question, what level of engagement have you had with government that made you believe that they have no intention to meet their obligation to SSANU and NASU?
Last week we had a 3-day protest all over Nigeria.
Why are we talking about protest and not engagement with government?
This is part of the engagement.
No, engagement
when you protest, it was a non-violent, not confrontational protest. We only came out, we showed our dismay, and that we expected that after that government will invite us, and government did not. And we decided that we took this issue back to our principals, and those are our members.
Let me ask you again the same question that Kay asked you just now.
Yeah.
What would it take for you to call off this 2-week notice? the strike, the planned strike. What would governments need to do now? 1, 2, 3 items?
What we expect government to do is to ensure that what we have signed as an MOU on the 20th of October 2020 should be put on the table. And that once those things are done, I tell you, we are not difficult unions to deal with, because most of us are administrators. We also understand clearly the need to, do things right. And that is why we are taking these 2 weeks as a notice to government. We don't rise up and go on strike.
Okay, Comrade, I am a Nigerian.
Yeah.
I have children who are families who are in schools in Nigeria, University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, University of Ife and Co. If you guys go on strike, it will affect my children, so to say. And my concern will then be, why will any union not be in a position to write consistently and show letters to say, we are writing to government they have not acknowledged. We have done 1, 2, 3, 4. Because for me, I don't think any parent will want their child to say, I'm unhappy with what daddy has promised me, so I'm going to carry placard and go outside, and I hope that he sees me on the street, and by so doing, he will call me to come and discuss.
In other words, are you concerned about the students, how this will impact on them?
I have told you that I'm also a parent. I have 2 of my children in the university, and I have no reason whatsoever to celebrate this setback. But I want to assure you that we expect that the government will be reasonable within these 2 weeks to invite us to sit down and show us clearly their commitment.
Because
and
we
these things will be sorted.
Because we have to go, but I can't let you go without asking this again. Has SSANU and NASU written any letter to the federal government through the Ministry of Labor and Productivity to say, these are the things you agreed, we're giving you from October till January, we have not seen anything, we need you to give us a firm date and commitment as to time of implementation? Has that been done?
We have engaged government, we met with government, we sat at the boardroom.
You said you demonstrated.
No. Before that, we met with government. I told you there was a committee set up by government in October 2020. We met. I told you the Minister of Labor chaired that committee. The minister, the Executive Secretary of NUC was there.
This was after October.
Yeah, that was in October. And that a 2 weeks timeline was given to those people whose responsibility is to ensure that those problems are sorted.
All right,
and
we'll have to leave it there.
Nothing came to see the light of the day.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mohammed Haruna Ibrahim, President of SSANU. We hope this strike will not happen. Thank you so much for joining us.
We hope so too.